almost did it again. I almost forgot to put my microphone down. But I remembered at the last second. Hey, Tech Dave. Hey, Aaron Carter. How are you guys doing today? Aaron, how's your kid doing? Hi, Elliot. Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. We got some cool stuff going on today. Let's see. What did I do? What did I do yesterday? I did some cool stuff. I did this yesterday. This was exciting because it was on my to-do list. I have my to-do list right here off to the side on my screen. And as you can see, I've been checking off. So I got, this is a feature creep. It's a feature creep from a discussion we had on the Discord, on the Game Modules Discord, about item attributes. And specifically, somebody wanted to use the attributes in a way that was essentially, you know, rarity, common, legend, rare, quality, broken, etc. And I was like, well, you can do that today. Well, you know, the kids like their moms more than their dads, I think, in general, probably for the food and the, you know, whatever. But yeah, kids are cool. Glad they're doing well enough to whiny though. All right, so yeah, because it makes sense to have objects, item objects, like in this case a short sword that is new and common and stuff. So what we got here is the ability to add starting item attributes and also variables. And so the starting item attributes, we did this last week, but and what's cool is I add this thing here too. If you can't get rid of these because they're part of this, and the console will actually tell you that. And with rarity, you can get rid of the ones that it's not, but you can't get rid of the one that it is unless you get rid of it. Then you can turn that off, and you can turn off rarity at all. But if we say, okay, all of these are going to be new, then hey, wait a minute. It was supposed to turn this on. Oh wait, no, that's quality. Oh, it wasn't supposed to. Well, but it's not supposed to allow me to do new because new's down here. So there's something to fix there. But what I wanted to show them was quality. So common. That's what I was looking for. When you do common, it turns that on for you as well. We can turn those on. And similarly with this variables, we'll get into that in a second. Let me just fix this before. You're not supposed to be able to essentially the same type of thing. They're both a system that will add an attribute automatically, but they act in different ways. Starting item attribute just means it has this, where variables is it will have it based on a variable value. Makes sense, I hope, for the word variables. But let's fix this, because I was actually doing this logic last night before I stopped on the whole, like, can you click off, can you click on various things, and what automatically gets added. So in this case, we're going to turn off rarity. So rarity is not there at all. And then when we add a starting attribute, let's see, add starting attribute, right here, I'm just going to say add starting attribute, blah, 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 force can use attribute. Oh, I see, it's not checking. Let's see, starting, yeah, it's checking starting items, but it's not checking variables. So we need to check for variables too, similar to this. So let's just put some notes here. Check to make sure there aren't any conflicting starting attributes. And in this one, we're going to check to make sure there aren't any conflicting variables. And then if we don't have it already, then add it, and then we force to make sure that it can use that, and that's what turns this stuff on, to make sure that, oh, if you add this, then boom, done. Definitely. Thank you, Elliot. Hello, Drake Dude, how are you? I'm glad. Thanks for the like and leave. Reminds me of college. Not really. I wasn't like that. Like and leave. But yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, so in this one we're going to check for conflicting variables. Oh yeah, forces is nice. Forces that you can use it, so you don't accidentally get in a situation where you start it, but then it can't use it, so you can't add it and all that stuff. All right, so for this one, we're going to look at the variables. New is distinct, so really it doesn't matter if it's distinct. you can't have the variable of this type, so I can't have a quality variable up here. So we're going to look for if variables any x, it's going to get a little bit complicated here, x dot variable attributes dot any y dot item attribute dot object type is equal to our new attribute dot object type. Then we'll do something. So basically, break it down a little bit. We're saying of all the variables, if any of the variables have any attributes that have the same object type, because you can have multiple variables. I've got quality here, but you could also have another variable if you wanted to. Then you can't do this, and then we're going to have to do, there's already a variable making use of type object type. We're adding the attribute. Okay, so now if we try to add broken, damaged, new, or worn, then it should block us from doing such things. Let's see, new. Good, it blocked us. So now, even if I turn this off here, I can't do new because there's the type, the rarity. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, not rarity. I keep getting confused between rarity and quality. The type quality is being used here. This name doesn't actually have to do with, it doesn't match this. It can be anything, but you can still have the block here because I'll show it in a second. See, it's still being blocked. Okay, so we're going to call this quality again. But if I remove all of these, there has to be at least two. So if you try to remove the last, second to last, you have to remove both. If you don't have a variable, then you just add quality and they all get added. These numbers get automatically set there. You can see that new is obviously probably supposed to be down here. And so now we've got the values from 0 to the max. And the idea here is that it's a little complicated. And if you are following along, let me know if you think this is too complicated. I don't think it's too complicated. It makes sense to me, but of course I made the damn thing, so I'm very biased here. So we have a couple things. We're going to start by not using the curve. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Let's fix this bug first. The variables still need to show even if we're not using the curve. So I got to fix that. Use curve. Use curve. Alright, so if we're not using curve, it says, so we're going to do this instead. Do that. It could be. This is Elliot, one of the things that I kind of struggle with on kind of communicating is that it could be durability. It doesn't have to be. It can be anything. So, for example, we're going to delete all these. Yes, we'll delete this. So right now there's no variables. There's no starting attributes. There's no variables. I'm going to just turn this one off so we clean it up a little bit. So a variable is just it's a float value. It can be a minimum of whatever and a maximum whatever, and it includes a normalized range between 0 and 1. So you can have both values. You can have the range between minimum and maximum, and you can have the actual minimums and maximums. So your minimum could be -100 and maximum of 100, and then 0 would be range 0.5, right in the middle of the two. So we're going to add durability, to your example, durability. And, now you've got the basic. It starts with 0 to 1. You see if I change the value here, we get the range value to something, so I can change that to 0.5, range value is that. If I change this to -1, you see this changes to 0 because the range value is still 0.5. The code is set up to basically handle changing these and keeping the value as it is rather than the other way around. So if my range is always at the beginning, you can say durability starts at the middle, and it's going to be 0.5 and minimum and maximum. So that's just a number. Now you can use this in your game however you want. It's going to be attached to the item object, so the game item object, whether it be a sword or a coin or a button that's on a door. Like maybe the button has a stuck factor, right? And or a squeaky factor or whatever. Yeah, maybe the hinges are a squeaky factor. And so the more oil you add, every time you add oil in the game, this goes up, 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 up. And if it's high enough, it doesn't squeak. And then the bad guys aren't alerted. That could be part of the puzzle in your game. It's completely up to you. How you use this is completely up to you. And that is why I struggle with, because these demos show something, and I think that gives people a sense, oh, it's for rarity, it's for quality, durability, but it could be anything. Anyways, so actually I'm going to put this back to quality so it does match the demo that we're making. So we got quality, and we can go between something and whatever, and for this we'll keep it here for now for demonstration purposes, but I think 0 to 1 is fine for this purpose in this demo. And then you can add a variable. So right now this is just going to be a tracker because it's just a tracker. Nothing else is happening here. And we can use a curve. So now if you look at the range value, if I put this at 0, it's still 0.5. Curve, nothing happens. But if I bring this up here to 25, it is the same because the curve is linear. But if we make the curve like this, so now the range value is higher. So as we go through, you can see that even though the range, this is 0.5 if we use no curve, but since we're using a curve, the range value is a bit higher. And then we can add to that these quality things. And now the idea is that these attributes will be added to the item object automatically based on the range value. So at 0, it's broken. But once you get to 2.5, anything 2.5 or above that's below 0.5 will be damaged, will be new, will be worn. Actually, we got worn than new. So, and you can change these as well. So you can say this is just 0.9, it has to be 0.9. And then with the curve, you can actually play with the actual value. So if I want to make this 0 to 100, then it's clearly going to be a lot more straightforward when it comes to the range value, because it's just simple math there at that point. But yeah, and so the system will automatically add and remove attributes, recompute the values of things. And one of the other things we added recently was that these attributes can affect the actor or cannot affect the actor. So in this case, these attributes will affect the object, not the actor. So if this is turned on, then the stat effects here will affect the actor's damage. But in this case, since it's turned off, the damage value of the weapon will be affected. So if our short sword has a stat effect of damage, this is going to be reduced by that amount. The final effect on damage will be reduced by 0.8. So even if it's a flaming sword of fire, which increases the damage, it will be decreased. And so we can see that if I go back. Yeah, so we have in the demo scene, we can actually see it here. I've got this button, hard to see probably, but get flaming sword. And once I get that, it computes all the stuff here. And I've got a lot of debugs going on here just to get through. But the final values of this sword is 4.8 damage and 3 attack. It's not a broken one, it's a damaged one. But you can see the damage effect on damage is 0 and negative 0.4. So it's now so this is the value really, 0.5, 0.5, and it's now 1, and then add negative 0.4, now 0.6. So anyways, it's very complicated. It's not that complicated. It's very logical, I think. But yeah. So in this case, it can be something like this. It doesn't have to be. This curve can be linear. You can, if it's linear, then you might as well not use the curve. And if you're not using the curve, then it's just going to be the straight values between whatever and whatever. You know, the crazy thing is you can use this in all sorts of different ways. So you could modify the value, the gold value. Like let's say you have a price for an object. The price is 100. But you can modify that by this. So you don't have to have this to be a minimum of 100. You can make it be a minimum of, or a maximum of 1 and a minimum of 0.2. This is what I had in the original demo. So now your quality can never go down below 0.2. So if you wanted to say, hey, this object is worth $100, but it's then multiplied by the quality. So if your quality, yeah, if their quality is 0.2, which is the lowest it can possibly be, then instead of $100, it's only worth $20. And as your quality is, you know, if your value is now 0.5, your actual range value is still low, lower than half, but the value is cut in half. So to really get to 0.5 range value, you'd have to be about 0.6 here. Yeah, so 0.6, you got this floating point issue there. You can probably clamp that. I think it does clamp in the end result, but yeah. So now it would be, you know, worn, so, but the value is 0.6, so it would be 60% of the total. So how you use that, again, how you use it, completely up to you. There's a lot of ways you can use it. And it makes it very flexible, but it also makes it very difficult to communicate exactly what to do because there are so many different things you can do with it. So one of the things I did want is this copy paste. I got a note, add copy paste for variables, option to copy item objects of this type. That's an interesting question. Like if, you know, we got all these swords here. If we want the same quality settings on all, then it should just be paste to all of this type. So all weapons get the same quality setting. So that's something. And we want to start default at 1. So they're all new. Maybe when we create something, we make it less new. I mean, you could always default at 0.9. So it's not quite new. But so let's do the copy paste now. You can see I can copy paste. Long spear is already selected as the copy. I copy this and now short sword selected. And we can paste that. But you know, long spear has these. So if I try to copy that, ooh, let's see what happens when I try to paste that in. Oh, interesting. It was allowed to paste. So we need to fix that because I should not be allowed to paste new here. So let's fix that real quick. Copy paste this one. So if we say paste, item object copy item attribute selections. Yep, we need to. Okay. Handle clearing. So if we're copying, then we're clearing. If we're not appending. If we're appending, then we don't clear everything. Alright, so now when we do the add for each right here, so we just need to check again for the other things down here. For each one, if we provide attribute, this is of that type, then continue. If we have already have it, then we are pending, then continue. Otherwise we add it, handle the types list. Available. Can use, yeah, okay. So I need to also make sure that we have can use that. Okay, so what are we really doing here? We're going to add it, but we're going to modify this here. So something to do there. And then here, we're just going to say if it's not that, then we're going to do that. And we're also going to say if not available item attributes dot contains attribute, then we're going to say available attributes dot add attribute. But we're going to check to make sure it's not down here already. We're going to do this up here, and then down here we'll do check to make sure it isn't represented in variables, because in this case we are copying the item attribute selections. We're copying all the selections. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, I am in the wrong freaking section. I copy pasted the wrong thing. All right, let me undo. Sorry, my bad. Okay. All right. This is for adding. Let me mark a note for myself. Copy paste for allowed item attributes. All right, that's the wrong one. We need to be. There's another cut. Yeah, there's two. I didn't realize that. There's this one. Starring attributes. This is the one we want. All right, so copy paste. So this is the one we want. We've got options for appending and one per type. All right. So we only clear if we're not appending. Then for each starting item, if it already contains it, if we are appending and the list already contains this, if we're keeping to one per, and that continue. Okay, and then we need to say, before we add, check to make sure it's not in variables, and put a note up here, copy paste for starting item attributes. Paste. All right. So make sure it's not in variables. And again, for variables, we're checking the whole the object type. So if variables dot any x dot variable object dot any y dot item attribute dot object type equals our copy, where are we at, attribute dot object type. Then we will say something and continue. We'll say debug.log. Variables already has object type, attribute.object type represented, so we can not add it to add attribute.object name as a starting item attribute. All right. So that should do that trick. We're going to do a copy paste for the variables too. That's not yet here, so we're going to do that. And I think I need to refactor a little bit too, because there's some inefficiencies right now that I've just noticed. So if we paste that, we got the new, so we can see that it can't be down there. All right, that's good. So the other thing is, when we paste this, we're using common. This needs to be added up there. we see it's added, but hey, guess what? Common can't be used by this one, so this would never actually be added, and that's a problem. We don't want that to happen. All right. What's the deal? Hello, everyone watching. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you have any questions, by the way, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy to have you here. So the problem is that I've now done this check multiple times, and that's inefficient. So we're going to add a new method for this, and it's going to be a public bool, true or false, has attribute type in variables, and we're going to pass in the string attribute to add, and then that's it, just the attribute to add. And then we're going to do this basically right here. So check to make sure it's not in variables, and we'll just put that right there. So if the variables any is attribute to add object type, then we'll do that and that, and we will say return true, otherwise return false. And I'm going to keep the debug. We could have changed this, maybe invert if. All right, there you go. So if there's none, otherwise we do that. So we could have changed this into a without the debug into just God damn it, what's the name of the code bit again? Lambda expression, I believe it's called. But because I do want the debug there to make sure people don't get confused as to why it's not working, if they expect it to add but it's not adding, then they will understand that. So we're going to keep it like this. And now we're going to say if has attribute types and variables, and attribute is what we're adding, then continue. So now I need to go to the other bit and change this same thing. So I think that's all in this here. Yep. So if item attribute is a thing. So if item object dot has that in variables item attribute, then we will do that message. And this will be a double debug now. So what we really want to do is say if it doesn't have it in the attribute, then we can add it. So if it does, we'll get the debug log out. If it doesn't, then we'll just add it and we don't get any debug logs. All right, so I'm just going to copy this bit. And that logic we can copy over to the other times where it's being used. Not in this one, though. Let's see. So this is really just the name of the variable, so that's not... well, we could actually add this to the item object. Yeah, we can add this too. So this is going to be a whole section. Item object variable etc. checks. So what we can do here, public bool has variable name string name name to check, and we're gonna name to check, and we're going to simply return variables.any x.name equals name to check. And so if any of them are named are that name, then it'll return true. I'm going to actually remove the debug log here. Now that I think about it, the debug log should be back here. So I'm going to undo. We're going to keep that. We're going to move the debug log back because this doesn't always need a debug log. It's really just saying, checking yes or no. That's all it really is. That's all it's really doing. So we will do that here and remove all of this. So variables, any, that, any, and then returns true if any variables is named to check. Okay. All right, so now back here, we will do this debug log here. And then for this one, we can now say if variables has variable name with the name variable.name, or new name rather, new name. There can only be one. Thailander. Hey, no problem. You don't need to pay attention. This isn't high school. I'm refactoring. I'm refactoring because I kept repeating code. And when you repeat code, it means you need to refactor. So there's one other spot where I did this bit, and that's right here. And what we're looking for here, this is the long one. Variables using that type already, so we can replace this with has attribute type in variables with the type item attribute type. Dot. Wait a minute. Oh, attribute to add. So this one. This means we need to make a variation of this. So let's do that. That's nice. So we've got this one right here, which is just looking at the item attribute. We can make another one that, that is looking at a string for object type. Or type to check. We can't do object type as a variable because this has that. So we're just going to look for this type of check. And then instead of doing this here, we're going to do has attribute type in variables attribute to add dot object type. So the main event, the actual check is here only. This calls this one. So if we ever need to change this, we only have to change it in one place rather than changing it in both places, the logic. So we'll do that. So now when we go back here, this will work just fine. Now, if you notice, we also are checking the starting items quite often. And so we're going to do very similar updates here to the item object where we look for the starting item variables. So let's do that. So public bool has starting item attribute and oh, hold on one second. My brother is here, so I'll be right back. We're gonna say this brother just showed up, be right back, and we will zoom in on this so that everyone can see that, and I will be right back. How many people did I lose during my brother's visit? Oh, 28 watching now. Well, I guess I didn't lose anybody. 25. Anyways, welcome. I'm back. So where was I? Let's see. Oh yeah, we were doing these helper methods here. Has starring item attribute. So we are going to say it's going to return true or false. We're going to return starting item attributes dot contains item attribute, and we're going to do another one, or not. I don't think we need another one. We'll do that another one if we need to do another one. Starting item attributes any. I could have just done contains at that point. All right, so we're going to say if has starting item attribute, and look at that, we need to change this name to be attribute. Has starting item attribute. That should work. And just double check. Yep, got it here too. If it contains any of the object type, so we need to add that now. Has starting item object type, and we're going to do a string type to check, and contains. So here we're going to do any x. Whoops. X dot object type equals type to check. So there we go. You are cloning humans. That's nice. That's nice. The problem with cloning oneself is you don't get to be the clone. It's like the Star Trek issue with the transporter, where essentially it actually does kill you and then reassembles you. The new you doesn't remember that, but technically the old you most certainly does die. So that's a shame. I think about that sometimes, and I think, shit, that does suck. Like, if you upload yourself into a computer, you're not actually getting uploaded. You're just being copied, and it's the computer that gets to live. It's not you. So, yeah. What a shame. Okay, so has starting attribute type. So we're going to say this of selected type. All right, and there could be more instances of this. Yep, right here, distinct, and this is looking for type as well. New attribute dot object type. All right, there's already a starting attribute for that type, and it has to be distinct. All right. All right. We can just change this to has attribute, has starting attribute, new attribute. And here's another one. Item attribute type. All right, I think that is all of them. All right, good. So, all that to make something else easier, to make the copy paste easier. We're gonna have to do a few more things like that, I believe, but let's find out. I think the wars of the future will just be robots, drones dropping grenades on people. All right. So we're doing this paste. Okay, so copy, paste, and it's not the allowed attributes, it's the starring attributes. This is what we're doing. All right. And one per type, and has starring attribute type of attribute.object type. If we're keeping to one per type and this already has one of this type, then continue. Okay. So if we're keeping to one per type and we already have something of that type, then we won't do anything. Otherwise, continue to check it for variables. If it's in variables, then we'll continue and we'll say debug.log. There is type attribute.object type is already represented in variables, so we will not add attribute.object name to the starting item attributes list. All right. And we can change this also to has starting item attribute, just to keep it consistent. All right, now let's see. Let's paste. All right, good. Now the other thing is, this needs to be affected up there. When we do that, we need to make sure it has that. So force can use attribute. This is the bit, and I think we can move this. If you see, this is another instance where you can kind of be like, hey, maybe this is in the wrong spot. Check out that item object is pretty much everywhere, right? So this method really should be on item object because everything it does is item object. So we're just going to copy this to the item object. It's another fancy, not fancy, but refactoring thing that I like to think of. If I keep seeing this, then clearly it's in the wrong spot. That's what I take from it. So we can move all this here, and then on over here we can delete it, and then everywhere that happens we can just say ItemObject.force can use, and I guess this is gonna have to be made public. And then where else do we have force can I can't spell force can use, so we'll do it here. ItemObject.force can use, and there's only the two. So that's what we're doing there. That means in our item object where we do our copy paste, or wherever we do our copy paste, second one down here, we will also do force can use attribute, and that is that. So now when we paste this in, it gets added there. So again, we turn off rarity. Oh, we can't turn off rarity because we're using it. So turn off that, and then paste, and it's added. Okay, there. So now it works. It's a little cleaner, less code in the end, which is good. I have a coffee drink that's just coffee with a little bit of the Starbucks Frappuccino bottle thing that you can get from Business Costco in it. That stuff's freaking sweet. It's ridiculous how sweet it is. So you only need a little bit, like a shot in a big tall glass of coffee. in my opinion, to make it just slightly sweet. That's the lesson for the day, the real lesson for the day. All right. So now we have that. Append should work similar. Append will not change, will not clear the list. So if I have other things on this, then it would append. So the other option I want to do is say copy this to all of this type. I mean, it's not something that you would use all the time because maybe you have like Master Sword. Maybe this is not, there's a quest item. Maybe you don't want it to be. So this is where you get the append going on. But append one per type. So append will add anything that's not listed. Append one per type will add anything that's not listed, but also not replace anything of the same type. So you don't want it to be common and rare at the same time. But isn't rare distinct? Yeah. So in that case, when we append common, this shouldn't even show up anyways because it's distinct. So it's going to be in variables. We'll look for it here. Check to see if it's already in variables. If we'll say not, it's if the object type is in variables, and then here we're going to see ensure the new item attribute is not distinct or the list doesn't contain that type already. So we're going to say if the attribute dot distinct and has starting attribute type dot object. And I already see. Here's a quiz for you. Can you already see the refactoring or the efficiency change that I'm about to do after this? Attribute dot object type. Continue. If I was doing a debug log, I would put that here. In this case, I'm not going to do a debug log. Or should I? So there's one, the efficiency thing is basically saying, hey, if I'm saying one per type, or if this is distinct, then, and it's we already have that type, then we can continue. But I think I'm actually going to do a debug log. Debug log, and we'll say, attribute.object name is, or object type, we'll say type must be distinct, and there is already an attribute of that type in the list. And then we're going to do a debug log here. Debug.log has one per type. Where's one per type? Oh, so this one we're not going to do a debug log because when you click one per type, that's an action. So there you should expect that to not happen. So there's no need to do same with this one. No need to do debug log because it's pretty should be obvious enough as to what it's doing there. So let's see if I append this now, if we'll get that debug log out. We should append that. Okay, rarity must be distinct, and there's already an attribute of that type in the list. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's being added, and yeah. We also have a copy paste up here, and yeah, we copy it, copies all of those. I've had an issue where I don't have the same quotes around both things. That's just a small thing, but it is a thing. should have consistency if possible. All right, so now we're going to do a copy paste for the variables. So I believe I have a placeholder for it in my variables. All right, show header variables. Yeah, copy paste. All right, space and show copy paste variables. Item object. We will create that method here, and we'll copy. Show copy paste starting attributes. That's fine. We will just copy all of this junk in this trunk. Show copy paste variables is here. We will now paste those in. All right, copy paste. Copy and paste values from other items. So in this context, all right, paste will replace the entire set of variables, while append will only add variables that are not already here without removing other variables. The append, do we have append one per type? No. So we don't need to do that. And we can just end that there. All right. So copy, this is the same copy as the other, which means we are repeating code here. So we can do this. Private void show copy button. Not but. There's copy button. We'll change this to copy button. And item object. And so we will then do just copy button. Item object. Okay, and then look for copy. And we'll just replace that. Oh, this is going to be, yeah. All right. So now we've got that in, again, just a little bit less code, not repeating code. Good practice there. We do have paste append and append one per type, but I'm not using one per type up here, and I'm not going to use one per type down here, and they all do different things when they're clicked, and so because of that there's not really enough duplication of code to make this down here. Is there? I don't think there is, because the big issue is the one per type. I could do a thing where, you know, it returns an int 1, 2 or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. We're in I think we're fine there. All right, so for the variables, we're going to paste append, and there's no one per type, so we're going to remove that. And so copy ItemAttribute variables, and we'll do the same here and append true, and we're going to create this in this other script, and we will then look for another copy item attribute selections. Yeah, okay. All right, and we're going to now fix this up. So we don't have in this context ItemAttribute type. That's used up here, where you're only pasting or appending the specific type. It doesn't make sense down here, and it doesn't make sense on the variables either. So 0 cream or sugar. I actually drink coffee black. But iced coffee, on the other hand, is not. I do not. All right. So we don't have to worry about this type, but we do have to worry about appending. So if we're not appending, oh, yes, bool append equals false by default. And if we go back to these usages, yeah, we got append true. Okay. All right, so we don't need this. So if we're not appending the variables dot clear, and I'll remove all the variables, which you might not want to do. Luckily, there is the undo button. It's getting bright outside. I'm trying to be more conscientious of my eyeballs because I've been noticing with my iPhone mini, which I like it being so small, but I noticed that after I read a news article on my iPhone mini for like 5 minutes, afterwards everything's blurry in the normal world. And I also realized that this time of day in the afternoon, where I am now, the sun comes in this window fairly bright, and it's a lot of eye strain, so I just closed my window or blinds a little bit. But tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow I am moving. I get keys on Monday. But tomorrow I will be, either tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll be taking down all this stuff, packing it all away for a brand new location. So we'll see how that goes. I will have a better setup where I'm not facing glare. That's the idea. Anyways, okay, so if we're not appending, then we're going to clear the variables. Handle clearing when I'm provided only clear that type. So that's not needed. All right, so for each of our variable in copy object variables, this is the item object variable type. So if we have, so basically for this one, if we already have a variable that's using the same object or item attribute type, then we should continue. So continue if we already have a variable that uses the same item attribute object type. So if variable has variable attribute type in variables, we should change that. And we're going to do copy object or variable dot that object type item attribute dot object type. So here's another, then continue. Couple things, couple more refactoring things. First, since I've got one that's has variable name, the other one is has attribute type in variables, we're going to change this to be has, oops, what are we doing? Oh, we got the variable. So we're going to change this to be all overloads has variable object type. So now we're going to have has variable name, has variable object type. So it's a little bit more logical in that regard. That should be better. And then the other thing is, this is very long. This is kind of silly. What I'm really looking for is what's the object type on this variable. So if we go to the variable, which is, oh, these are actually still on here. I didn't think I've separated them yet. Yep. We can just do a nice helper property here. So public string object type is going to be variable attributes dot 0 dot ItemAttribute dot object type. So essentially, there's always going to be 2. You can't have a variable with under 2. Well, you can. So actually, you can have one with 0. So it will be null if there is none. This will say return null, I believe. And otherwise, we'll get the object type. So now, way down here, we can say object type or variable dot object type. And I think there's other places where I did that. Let's see, maybe over here, has variable object type. Object type, there's probably way too many uses to figure out that way. I think there's other use cases for that, but it's okay. We'll find them. All right, so continue if we already have a variable that uses the same. So if we already have that type, then we'll continue. If we already have it and we are appending, yeah, because it doesn't matter, append or not, it doesn't matter. So that matters not. Otherwise, we will add a new, we need a clone method on that. So we're going to have to clone this ItemObject variable. So public ItemObject variable clone is going to be a JSON utility dot from JSON ItemObject variable and JSON utility to JSON. This. So basically, we're going to encode it in JSON and then decode it from JSON as a clone. And that's how you get a clone of this without using the exact same one. So when we add it, we're not going to add it itself. We're going to add a clone of it. So add variable.clone. And variables dot add variable clone. There we go. And then we need to make sure we can use all those types. So we're going to say force can use attribute. Let's see. There is, what do we do here? Add starting attribute and add variable attributes. Oh, okay, we're doing it for each. All right, then we can do that here too, I guess. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of copy this a little bit. So attributes or type are going to be, we don't have this. Why not? I think we could have this. No, because it's not an editor script, and that's an editor script, I believe. Is that the case? GameObjects utility is not an editor script, so we're just not bringing it in, maybe. Let's find out. ItemObject does not use game. It uses this utilities, but not GameObject utilities, which is interesting. Should figure out why I've got both of those. Anyways, that's a side topic. So game modules attribute of type. So this is going to get all the attributes of the variable.object type. And so since we are using this multiple times, var variable type equals that. So we will do that there, that there. We don't need that or that. So we will really just say for each attribute in attributes of that type. So this is, by the way, for those of you who are familiar with game modules, at least in passing, one of the big refactors is now, before there was a method like basically item attributes of type. Now there's just one method, game modules objects of type, where you put item attribute there and then the type over here. So you'd be using the same format for every, if you're ever looking to get a list of all the objects, item attributes, item objects, quests, conditions, whatever of a certain type, string type, object type, then you would use this. So it would be game modules object of types, conditions, variable type, or object type, etc. So it's just a little bit, that's one of the refactoring things I've been doing basically. So for each one of these, we're just going to say force it can use that attribute. That's all it's going to do. Okay. And that should be it, I believe. So add a clone to the list, and then make sure the object can use the attributes. All right, so that might work. Let's find out. Let's go back to short sword, because right now we've got master sword copied. We're going to go to copy this, go to our small axe, we'll say, and paste it. And there we go. So now if we do change this, just to confirm, it's not changing it here because we did a clone. Yeah, so that works, and if we delete it, we can append it, and that works too. If we append, then we don't replace the changes we've made, but if we paste, we do. Undo works. So the other option here then is, you know, what if we did want to just paste in the values from wherever we have copied? Like there should be a button here that says paste short sword values. That way you can selectively copy one thing without changing everything. So let's add that. Yeah, we'll put it maybe over here to the right. There we go. So use curve, we'll find that. All right, end row, not end row. There's a copy paste. There's a has key. This is what we're looking for. Use curve. Okay, so if we don't have that key, then I'm just going to end the row and return. And actually, here's what we'll do. If we have the key, then we will show paste this variable, and then we're going to need to pass in probably variable and item object. All right, and then we'll put this in here. And for this one, we're going to do background color is color.yellow, and then we will do a reset color at the end. And then we're going to do a, actually, I'm going to move this over here. So we'll always show it, but not really, because the method will say if we don't have the key, then return. Okay, and then if we do have the key, then we will show a button, if button, and the button's going to be paste oh, interesting. This should also only show up if the paste has it. So we'll do that in a minute. Paste values from well, what is it? Copy, paste, get string. This is what we're looking for. Use curve. All right, paste this variable. All right. Oh, yeah, get key, duh. All right, copy, paste values from that. And so we're also going to say, well, then we have to do something. And up here we're going to say if well, what are we going to do here? Copy object. Oh, okay, I see. That's how we get the object. All right, that's good. So I was wondering, how do I get the object from that string? I made a method for it myself. Copy object. Well, that makes sense to me. So if copy object variables or has a variable object type of this variable dot object type, then continue or return. And it's not going to be that. It's going to be if it doesn't have. So if the copy object doesn't have a variable of this object type, then we won't show the button. And then, okay, then we're going to say if we copy the button, then the variable equals copy object dot variable. Oh, we need to get the variable of type and pass in variable object object type dot clone, and we're going to have to create this. And this is going to return a variable. What is it? It's going to return an ItemObject variable. Yep. And so variables first or default x dot object type equals variable object type. And so we will just return that here. A lambda expression, is that the term? I think that's the term. And so it can return null. So now we will variable equals copy clone okay. I don't know if that's going to work because it's grayed out, so I'm getting the impression that it's not going to work. We need to make this different too, but that's okay. No, it's not. Short sort is not using the curve. All right, so what we're going to do is then do another method, say ItemObject dot replace values of variable, and we're going to do variable from, that's going to be the from, or the to from is going to be, yeah, so copy object dot variable of type, variable variable dot object type, and then the 2 is going to be variable. And we'll put this on here, and so we're going to say variables dot where variable where x equals variable dot equals variable of type dot clone, and that is not quite right. Nope, it's going to be first or default. First or default. All right, var found variable equals that, and if found variable equals that, I think. If found variable equals null, then return. Otherwise, so this is still not going to be right. Okay, let's do this. Var clone equals that. There's got to be another way of doing this. Maybe it's going to be variables dot replace remove at reverse. What's prepend? Prepend would put something in the first. Well, we could just copy over all the individual things one by one. So if we did that, let's see, that would basically be saying variable dot curve equals variable type dot curve dot clone. No. From variable and then variable dot max equals from variable dot max. It's just kind of just doing this over and over again. This would also work. I wanted the clone to work though. Let's ask ChatGPT something. Open AI, nope, chat.openai.com. This is a verifying I'm a human. This is a good use case. I already did that, didn't I? How many times do I need to verify? 3 times. All right. So this is a good use case. I have a custom class, ItemObject variable in Unity C#, and I want to copy the values of one object of this type into that of another of this type. There is a clone property on the ItemObject variable which returns a clone of the object. how can I make this work? And we'll see if it knows. This is fun. Note that as soon as the clone method of the ItemObjects is implemented, copy the values of the clone rather than create a shallow copy or some other behavior. Yeah, well, that's because you're wrong. So let's tell it why it's wrong, because it doesn't know. It doesn't know, right? It doesn't know. This is the clone property. In that case, it's basically saying that a from or a variable can be equal to from variable.clone. And that's that. Let's see if that works. Was I overcomplicating it? I don't think so, because that's not... Maybe we need to say variables dot type dot first or default x dot object type equals variable dot object type. See, it just doesn't seem to want to work. I don't think this is going to work, but let's find out. I feel like I'm missing something. So the only difference between this and short sword is this use curve thing. So yeah, it's not working. This does not appear to work. Variable is not set properly. Ah, it's a copy of. Update the original. I mean, this then is a copy of it as well, right? Variable equals dot clone. Oh, maybe it'll work this way. Nope. No, that's not going to work either. Again, because this is a copy. Object dot first dot variables dot first or default x dot object type equals variable dot object type. equals found equals same deal, right? Yeah, same deal. Doesn't work. Aaron's asking how many of you use Maya. I'm a 0 on that one. I mean, I've used it, but I have not used it without just getting a headache and realizing I still don't have a middle mouse button on my Mac mouse. How am I going to do this? Let's try something else. Let's try it a slightly different way. So we got this. So we can do maybe for each var variable in variable object in variables, if variables object dot object type does not equal variable dot object type, we can say from variable to object type, then continue. Otherwise, variable object equals from variable dot clone but still it won't update, I think. Okay, we're going to ask ChatGPT for something else. I like the sound of rain, by the way. We've gained a lot of rain here in California, and I like the sound of it, and I'm happy with that. It's raining on my window. Earlier, I actually heard thunder, which doesn't happen too often in this area. So we're going to give ChatGPT this method. And I'm going to say, I need to have a method that replaces all the public values with those from another object of the same type. I need a method to change all the public values on this on an object of this type, item object variable, with the values from another of the same type. And we'll see if it gives us something. All public values with the values from another of the same. You can create a method that iterates through all the public fields of the object using reflection and copies the values. All right, I've not done that before. All right, let's see. Okay. Let's just see what it says. Okay. Copy values. Source to destination. All right. Get all the fields from the source or of that type. Okay. Copy the values from the source to the destination for each field. value. Gee, will this work? Let's find out. Type for me GPT. It's all about the use case. The use. Well, it's always funny. I don't think you can copyright common code, right? Like a couple lines that do something that's super common, you can't copyright that, right? But it's if you combine it with other things, you can. So it's really about the use and all that, in my opinion. There's someone who wrote a script to basically create like 4 bars of every combination of musical notes, and then they published them all, so that technically they've now published every potential musical 4-bar, I don't know what you call it, but a sentence, right? So if anyone writes any song ever, they can say, hey, we published that first. Of course, they're not going to do that, though. It's just a sort of thing just to show what, the kind of silliness in some cases of people basically accidentally stealing from somebody else with no intent to do it. It's just a melody that they liked that they've never heard before, but somebody else also liked in the past. Anyways, let's see if this works. Copy value. So we're going to go back over to here, and we'll say ItemObject.copy values, and source is going to be the copy object, variable of type, and destination is going to be variable, and this probably has to be made public or non-static. And let's see if it works. Nope. Just didn't update. Okay. So that whole non-static thing was a hint. Okay. So it worked. So if I go back to short sword, and now I change this to 0.9 and use curve, and I can change the curve to something crazy like that. Go to small axe, paste from that, and it worked. Okay. Now if I change this up here and go short sword, oh, look at that though. Now those match. That's a problem. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted. So, unfortunately, this now links the two. I need the values to be updated but not linked. Linked, you need to copy the values one to the other. This is what I was hoping it would give me in the first place. Okay. This is what I really wanted. Okay. So this is interesting code. I might use that in the future, but this is what I really wanted to do. So yeah, we just need to copy all of this to up here. Copy values from other, and then I think that will work. So we will then say destination dot copy values from other source, and that's that. And really, we can go back here and say variable dot copy values from copy object variables of type variable dot object type, and be done with it there. Let's see if that works. will paste from short sword. Now go back to short sword, change some stuff, change that, put this back to 0.5, and see small axe did not get updated. If we now paste from short sword, we will get that update. And then just to check, I'll do something weird with short sword like that, and there you go. So that worked. This is the I knew I could do. This is one of those things where I'm like, I know I can do this, I just don't want to. So what I really did here is my thing here. We can now delete all of this. What I really did was said, hey, ChatGPT, I don't want to write this myself. Please write it for me. And it did. So aside from the aside going down the reflection route, probably saved 10 minutes of my life. Magic. Now if we are copying, then yeah, so in regards to this panel up here, the allowed item attributes, we're pasting from short sword, then no need to so if we're pasting, no need to update because it's already there. Let's just confirm now that if I remove quality from here and say you can't use quality, remove quality from there. Interesting. Can't use quality. If we paste, I have the wrong copy. Okay, so we have short sword copied. Can't use quality. Paste it. Now I can use quality. Okay. Interestingly, though, here we had new. And if I paste it, ooh, okay, so there's an issue there. I'm going to make the command decision that if you're pasting in something that has it here, quality, then you don't want it in the starring attributes. Yep. Gotta make the AI work for you. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. That's the thing. That's the important bit. And I think that's in the future we're all going to realize that. You're going to learn. Hi, Nick. How are you? It's been a while. Are you going to GDC this year? Last year I met Nick in person at GDC. Nicholas. Sorry, I don't know if you go by Nick or Nicholas, but I'll say Nicholas. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to say that if you're trying to paste in, then we're going to remove it from here. But we're going to give a debug log warning just to give you a heads up of what just happened. So if we go back over here and we say copy, paste, it's going to be on the variables ones, paste variables. Copy item variables. So add a clone to the list and make sure. So now we're going to have to say remove from starting item attributes any of this object type. And that means going to be if has starting item attribute type of variables.object type, then starting item attributes.remove all x.object type equals variable.object type, and then say debug.log warning. Important, there was at least one starting item attribute of type variable.object type which has been removed as removed. If you did not intend this, then please undo. Keep in mind that starting item attributes and variables cannot each have item attributes of the same object type. I do. I love all the people, but the people I see at GDC is even cooler. Yo, Nico. All right. All right, let's see if this works. So now if we're going to also remove, oh, we can't remove quality. Okay, so we're just going to paste, and it removed it and told me that it removed it. If I undo, it adds it back in and all that nice stuff. All right, good. And so now we can paste short, and then we're going to do, I got to close this window a little bit more. Suddenly the sun is really, it's coming through the tiny cracks and it's getting glary. All right. Paste. It's not going to be on this script. It's going to be on this one. Paste values from that, and the width is going to be width of the button is going to be 150. We'll say. See, that might not be long enough. Actually, it's probably not going to be long enough. It's probably going to be like 250. Let's see. Yeah, I'll say 250, and it's all the way over the side because use curve isn't doesn't have a size on it. Left check, and that's going to be 150 for a width. That'll cap this off about right here, I think. Let's see. That's my guess. And I was wrong. It's out there, but that's okay. All right, so we'll make that a little bit smaller than maybe 110. All right, so now as a check, we're going to add this random one. Whoa. Ooh, what just happened? What did I do? What did I do? All right, good. We found a big bug. I don't know how big it is. 40. Object type. Okay, so earlier I mentioned this will return null, I think, but maybe it's not. Oh. Okay, ChatGPT time. I know what to ask it. In this code, can I return an empty string if variable attributes is empty? And then it should give us a little hint. No? So yes, the answer is really yes, and here's how you do it. Object type, variable count equals 0. All right, yeah. If it's greater than 0, then return the item object. Okay. Yep. Again, I could have done that, but probably saved a good 30 seconds to 60 seconds. All right. So now we've got durability here. Oh, add durability. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it is here. Oh, we need a space between those to make that more obvious. Use curve. Oh, wrong script. Use curve. Show row name. Show variable. Show variable for each one. We're going to do that, then space. And then show add variable. There's 2 spaces there. Nope, not that show add. Add variables here. Show add variable. We don't need the space in front of that now. These show variables will always end with a space. All right, so the whole point of that was to show that paste is here but not here because short sword doesn't have durability, so there is nothing to paste there. All right, so now I'm going to copy this. Let's just do a random. Oh, but then that deletes it from up there. All right, so we're going to copy this. We'll just leave that there. So we'll copy small axe, and then here let's just change a couple things, make this curve weird again. And now if we append it, then it doesn't change this one, it just adds durability. If we paste it, it changes both. So there you go, and then we can just paste the small axe value without appending the whole thing. So now you have oh. What is going on here? 502, 502. Oh. Okay. So this is basically saying it doesn't have it. So 502 for each attribute. Huh. Oh, because variable type is empty. If string.is null or white space variable type, then we will say continue. Because durability doesn't have any variables on it, so there is no type. Oh, hello, Llama Academy. How are you doing? Oh my gosh, yeah. So I have a big fear now when they get rid of the imgui or however it's pronounced that I'm going to have to change everything. It's going to be a tedious exercise. I've added so many helper scripts to my editor thing that, yeah, not looking forward to it, I guess. So append, there we go. Undo, paste, undo, undo. Okay, so append, undo, paste, undo. Yeah, paste values from there. Append, perfect. All right, so now that is working. The other thing now is, can we just do a copy everything? So we have all of these set up, and we say, okay, well, I've just set up that short sword is going to be able to use all these, and it can use these as well. And it's going to start off as common, and it's going to have a quality setting on this curve that, you know, so that over time it's going to get, I mean, what you really could say is wear and tear. You could call it wear and tear. And then as the wear and tear goes down, it's going to get worse. And once it gets down to about here, it's suddenly broken. You know, but this curve, let's say, I think this curve more appropriate for that if you're going to do a curve, so that really you can get a lot of wear and tear. Maybe this is the easy setting and it's linear for the hard setting of your game, but and then you get down to pretty much here, and suddenly it's like, oh shit, now you've really done it. I want this to be a little bit of a shallower curve. There you go. So you have a little extra. Oh, because your value is going, yeah. but with a minimum value of 2 because we want to multiply, use this as a multiplier for the dollar value of this item. So there you go. I've set all this up. This is going to be 0.75. I've set all this up, and now I just want to copy it to all of these. So we copy short sword. So I think we will do a global up here. Good. Good. Good, good, good. I don't want to do it. I feel like an old man. If it don't broken, don't fix it, or whatever the term is. I fucked that one up big time. But you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah. All right, so I think there's two things I'm thinking here. Is one, I like the idea of saying, oh, copy this to all of the same type. But I think it's not a big deal to select each one and click. So you could do paste all from, I mean, you could do a paste on all of those, or you can paste all from whatever, and that would just call all three at once. So let's try that. Yeah. Okay. Allowed item attributes. Oh, we're on the wrong one. Allowed item attributes. All right. So this is up here. Show vertical box. Show copy all item, or paste, copy paste all. Item object. And actually I'm going to do two things. I'm going to move this copy to the top two. Show copy paste all, private void, and item object item. Let's copy these. All right, so show copy paste all. We're going to copy, move the copy button up there. Show copy paste all. Alright, so we will start by background color is color.yellow, and then I'll reset my color, and then copy button, item object. And now we're going to remove these from the other sections. So let's just see what this looks like first. I might want to put a box around it or not. Let's see. Maybe I don't put a box around it. Oh, wait a minute. It's in a box already. It should be not in that box. It should be here, outside of the box with a space after it. And I guess I'm going to need a space before it too. So we're going to change this to be, instead of copy, just copy itself, we're going to add, say, copy item object name, and make this a little wider. And then I'm going to delete it from down here. So all the other copy buttons will go away, including that 20 pixel width label after. So now there's only one place to copy, and that's at the top. And if you do copy it, you will have then a paste all button. Now copy paste is actually just going to be paste rather than copy paste. Okay, and then show copy paste all, and then if has key has key item object attributes, then we will have a new button called if button paste all values from that. And this is going to be from get key or get string item object attributes, and that's going to do all three, but let's just make sure it looks right first. It does not, because we didn't do a start row and we didn't do an end row. Always have to do an end row, and we didn't even say that this is supposed to be only 200 pixels wide. We'll make it 250. And I think we can actually make this, if it's that and this, reduce nesting. Let's see. All right. If we do those things, then it's basically all of these at once. Copy paste all. And we're gonna keep track of all these different things. Paste. Copy paste all. And find the last one, paste. Should be the last one. And while we're here, make this a little skinnier. Copy paste all. All right, 3 different ones. Yes, but which one's this? Oh, this is not the right one. It's this one will be the last one, I think. Copy, paste all. All right, so selections, starring attributes, and variables. And this one is copy item attribute. It's going to be copy allowed item attributes. Let's make this more more clear. And this one's going to be copy starting attributes. And this is a copy variables. All right, make those a little bit more clear. ItemObject copy. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's see if it works. All right, so short sword is selected. It seems to work. This one, we can go crazy and just say this one's got nothing. Like, let's just say we just create a brand new one and we say it's empty, it's got nothing on it. Paste all values, and now we've got all values. Wear and tear is set properly. See, I still think I kind of feel like I want a button that says copy this to all of this type. Because the reason being, if I just do this just for all of these, even this one, and then we'll just remove this and say this is actually rare. And then this is short sword, paste, paste. If we did all of that and then I realized, oh shoot, this is actually supposed to be higher. This is supposed to start at 1. I don't want to have to then copy and do all that. So now I need a button that says, you know, paste to all. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad you agree, because I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. So I think this is going to be pasting values from, and I guess, would it be in the same row or would it be underneath? Copy values to. Or would both of these be underneath? Yeah. All right, so we're going to do that. We're going to go and put them underneath, I think. Let's see, paste values from this. So that is this chunk right here. So I'm gonna zombie code it for now. Maybe delete it later, or maybe forget about it. And it's actually this chunk. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? This is what I'm zombie coding. Okay. All right. So show name row and vertical box is going to be show copy paste variable. No, we already did that. How would I name it? Single variable item object. So we're going to have to do this individually here, but also here, and also on this one. Toolbar with actions. What's an example of a toolbar with actions? Show single variable actions. I'm going to try to imagine what you might be saying. So what we can do here is say start row, end row, and label 50 true. We'll make this actually 60. Just grouping the actions together in a row. Okay. I think I'm doing it right then for what you were thinking. And I'll label it actions too, just to make sure, see what that feels like. Actions. And then in that we're going to do show paste and then show copy this variable to all of type. Variable item object. I don't know if we need all of that, but we will give it. And then this is going to say for each var item object in game modules objects of type. It's item objects and of type item object dot object type. obj dot what do we do when we do paste this variable? Copy values from. All right. Nope. Dot variable of type item object dot object type copy values from. So we're using this twice. It's not a huge amount, but var object type equals that. Just whoops. Okay. Copy values from copy object variable of type. Object type. No. This is right. Let's find out. All right. So to do this and test this appropriately. Ooh. What am I doing? What did I do? What did I do? Wait, is this trying to run? Oops. Oops. I effed up. I forgot I need a button. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. All right. Copy these values to all object types, item objects. Now let's see how much I messed up, if that messed up anything. It looks like it didn't mess up anything. That's nice. I can make that a little less verbose. Copy values to item objects of type, object type. All right, copy. Copy values or let's see, paste values from that, copy to to item objects of type. Okay, and we'll just make this. That's getting really long, really wide. Yeah, that's probably good enough. All right, copy 2 of that type. So if we remove wear and tear from all of these other ones, and then we click this, what happens? Okay. Did anything happen? No. Okay. So we got a null reference. That's something. All right, let's do a debug.log, checking object.object name, object variable of type. If we don't have it, then we continue. So if object.has variable of type, object type, then we will continue. And of course, it's really, if we don't have it, then we continue. Otherwise, we paste it. All right. Oh, no, that's not all. Wait a minute. So if we don't have it, then we're going to add it. Else, we're going to copy it. So this is going to be our new. Okay. We will then say object.variables.add new item object variable, and then we will say object.variables last index dot copy values from that. Okay. So essentially, if we don't already have it, we're going to add it and then copy the values from it. Otherwise, we're going to grab it and copy the values from it. This, you could create a try get. Thanks, Llama Academy. By the way, everybody, go check out Llama Academy. He is helping you, yes, you, get better at game development and other things. I didn't do the line quite right. I did part of it quite right, but not all of it. I forgot the second half. But yes, check out his tutorials. They're very good, far better than my own, and I'm always impressed by them. So check them out. Llama Academy at YouTube. All right. All right. Copy to those. Null reference still. What is the... Oh, interesting. Interesting. I guess we can do the clone method. Where do we use the clone? Let's try that. Object.variables clone. Let's try that. Comment those out for now. See if that works. And since, you know, oh yeah, let's clean this up. Okay, this one already has wear and tear. This one already has wear and tear. This one doesn't. So two of them still do have wear and tear. So I'm going to, again, make this into this weird curve there. Copy these over. No reference still. What happened? Anything happen? Nothing happened. Okay. Still no reference. Why? Okay. Debug.log. Doing object dot object name, debug.log, there are object.variables variables. Ooh, I caught my mute button just before I coughed. I had to hold that one in. Okay, then debug.log. Object type is that. And debug.log. Copy object is copy object.object name. All right, I'm just kind of debugging those to figure out which one's null, because I don't know which one's null. All right, there we go. None of them are null. Okay, which one is null? Var clone equals that, and we'll say at clone debug.log clone is null equals null. Oh. Okay, what did I not print out up here? Copy object, variable of type. That's what we don't have. So the variable of type, object type is quality. Copy object is short sword. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we're not doing copy object here. That's the problem. Copy this to all. So we need to do variable clone. And then object variables dot add a clone of the variable clone. Okay. That was the issue. I think we'll find out in a brief moment. Okay, we did get that, but I think, oh, interesting. It copied it there too. Okay, so a couple things. We're going to say if object equals item object, then continue. So basically don't do it on itself. And this says copy. Oh, interesting. It deleted both. Okay. Copy items of type weapon. Okay. So if the object returned here is the item object we're dealing with, then we continue. If it has the variable, if it doesn't have the variable, it's not has variable item attribute has of attribute type. Make that more clear. So it's not object type. It's going to be of the type we're copying, which is going to be variable.object type. Okay, I think that will work now, but that's what I said last time, so maybe I'm wrong. All right, copy to item objects of type weapon. Null reference exception. Okay. Variable, we probably have the same issues here. Okay. So this is saying if we don't have it, add it, a clone. Otherwise, on the object, get the variable of type. Variable.object type. There we go. And we're copying other is just variable. Okay. So now it's on the objects, variable type of that type, copy this one. Okay. Whoops, where'd it go? All the way over here. And it shrunk on me too? Okay. So we are now going to make this back to a nice curve. Do that one. And copy two others. All right. This one got it, 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 this one got it. Perfect. Yep, so now if we realize we made a mistake, and no, we did want this to be a strange curve like that, then we can just copy those to all of them, and it does that without changing the rest. That's nice. All right. Now then, we should probably do the similar actions to we should probably do a hide and show for this too. One of these basically. Or not. Okay, starting attributes, paste. These might be taking up too much space. Okay, let me look, see if that, I think these help boxes are taking up too much space, so I'm going to try something else. Add custom, so this is going to be the message, and show header variables. We're just going to add a symbol .info, which is what info, and then a tooltip. Do we not have string int bool? String tooltip width font size. Okay, so we're going to make a new version that doesn't require width but does have a tooltip. Oh, and tooltip's just one word, I guess. Tooltip. Label field. Okay. Whoa, too big. Too big. Go home. Let's see if that works. It does not appear. Add custom. Did not save. Sometimes it doesn't save. It didn't save. That's the issue. There we go. Now we got a big, nice info button. So that means I can delete then this one. And then that will clear up a little bit of the clutter here because I think it's getting a little cluttered. Okay, we'll do the same for the others as well. So, not all. So we'll just copy this whole bit, delete it, and where's the header? Symbol info and tooltip. Okay, and then the last one will be starring item attributes. These attributes, blah 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 blah. Delete that. Starting item attributes and a tooltip. All right. I didn't put the symbol info though. Symbol info. All right, there we go. All right, that's some good shenanigans. Good shit. A lot of good shit right here. I'm just gonna say shit a lot. So there you go. Now we've got all three of those nicely organized, I suppose. The copy paste settings are up here now. Should those be a different color? Because I use yellow for things like adding variables, but maybe copy paste should be a different color. What would that look like? Copy So a copy button. Background color. Color dot magenta. Let's see. I've used that in another thing. What about cyan? Is that too much like the toolbar? Let's do cyan. So cyan will be the color to use. Color.yellow. I have to remember to change this in other scripts too. Okay, did I do it? Okay. Okay. Paste values from short sword copy to ItemObjects of type weapon. Okay. Then I can make this a little bit smaller. All right. I think that looks a little bit better. Hopefully. Okay. Yeah, so that's good here. I think yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. I've got feature creep issues because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, a bunch of these start as common, some of them start as rare, right? If I look at these, paste all values from short sword. But now this is a well, yeah, I guess. So now I need to add armor class, armor class to all of these, -0.8, and copy pen structure, -0.4. All right, so now this can work on all of these as well. You can have the same ones, I suppose. Or maybe not. Maybe it can't have. I guess it can. I don't even know. It's really up to your game is the thing in the end. Copy small shield, paste to all. So now all of these styles common. They can all have wear and tear. They all have the same curve. You could have a different curve for each type. All right. That's pretty efficient. So what I was thinking is we all have these common and whatever, and if we click on these and view it, you know, it could be interesting, I guess, to have a list of all the item objects that use this one in their starting item or in their variables. But I think that's feature creep and overkill right now. Maybe I'll add that in the future. Here's a copy paste that needs to be updated. File item attribute editor, maybe find copy paste. It's gonna be yellow, cyan. Yeah, I think this is good. Stat effects. Menu bar options. Show buttons. Bar index, show dictionaries, show stats, stat modification level drawer editor, stat modification level drawer editor, dot yellow, cyan. All right. Anyways, I'll have to do all this, but I think this is pretty good. I'm pretty sure I checked to make sure it was working, but I might, let's see. Add copy paste for variables. Option to copy all. Yeah, we did that there. Make sure they're added properly at runtime, and make sure the values save. We'll have to do that. I'll have to do that. All right, but I'm going to call it here. It's been 3 hours, so I'm going to call it here. And thanks for hanging out. I will see you another time. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.